The METUS Tech Show.
Welcome to the METUS Tech Show, a show for HVAC professionals by HVAC professionals.
The METUS Tech Show.
So, Steve, have you ever tried pho?
No, but I see restaurants all over Georgia that sell pho, and I've always wanted to try it, and I've heard great things about it. I don't know what's in it.
There's actually a pho restaurant we got to go to when we get back to Boston. It's in Framingham, right on Main Street, and it's basically this soup. It's super good. It's got all kinds of stuff in there. I think the key to the soup is the broth. But the really cool thing about it is all this junk that's in there. I think it's rice noodles, but then they give you the protein. They give you the meat sliced really thin on a plate, and it's raw. And the soup is nice and hot, and you put the meat in there, and it cooks right in front of you.
Does it have tofu in it?
Well, you can get it with tofu, but I don't think anybody in their right mind would. Why wouldn't you get meat in it, I guess? Yeah. But we have Katie here, who was, we'll talk about that later, but Katie knows a little bit about pho.
It's actually pho.
It's spelled pho, P-H-O.
It's spelled pho, but I'm Vietnamese. It's pronounced pho.
Oh, well, I guess I can't argue with that.
Okay, we'll just learn something, yeah, because I've been calling it pho all my life.
Pho. Okay, pho. All right, I can figure that out. Do you know how to make it? Do you make it?
Oh, I do. So when I was growing up, every Sunday afternoon, I would make pho completely from scratch with my mom. Absolutely delicious chicken. In the broth, you put cinnamon sticks, star anise.
Oh, wow.
Whole cloves, whole peppercorns. Absolutely delicious. A little bit of sugar and fish sauce. And then what we would do with the leftover broth is put it in ice cube trays and stick it in the freezer, and we would make pho cubes.
What? Hold on, what?
Pho ice cubes, but without the ice. So growing up, we thought that was hilarious.
So cubes of pho, or as you just called them, pho cubes. We have to make sure we pause there because we don't want to get...
Yeah, I'd have to edit that out. Yeah. But we're okay.
All right.
As long as the pause is in there.
I think we should just go with cubes just to be safe, because if we talk too fast, it just may come out wrong.
Okay.
All right. So, Robyn, have you ever had pho?
I have had pho.
I mean, that's what I meant. Pho.
Yeah, quality chicken broth, delicious.
Can you use beef?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
I guess it's allowable.
Yeah, and what's your feeling on tofu?
Perfectly acceptable.
Okay.
Why?
Yeah, I don't like squishy.
Why would you not?
I don't know what it is.
It's disgusting.
I kind of pick it out, put it to the
absorbs
side.
the flavor.
Yeah. No, my wife tries it. She goes, "Try this tofu. You can make it taste like steak." And I'll say, "You know something?
Steak
I can make
like
steak taste like steak." Yeah, exactly. Anyway, Robyn, Katie, we'll start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Yes. So I'm Katie. I'm from the Portland, Oregon Trane office as the DSG/DTS or Ductless Technical Specialist. I've been in this role for 3 years now. I've been a DSG member for about 1.5 years, and I've been a certified trainer for a week.
All right. And speaking of DSGs, I forgot to mention, you might hear some background noise. We're at the 2023 DSG conference in Alpharetta in Georgia. Robyn, tell us a little bit about you and your background and what you do and so on.
Sure. I am with Trane, Texas. I'm on the commercial side. I'm the VRF team leader. So I have the Ductless sales specialist and the Ductless technical specialists underneath me. I've been a DSG for 2 years maybe.
Okay. And is this, I know you were at last year's DSG conference too. Katie, were you there last year or is this your first?
I was there last year.
You were? Okay. You
Awesome.
were both there. Well, so welcome again. So we did back in March of this year, we did a Women in HVAC special podcast. Our director of field marketing, Patty Gillette, hosted, and we had an apprentice on there. We had a business owner on there and a seasoned technician, all of which were women. And I remember reading at that time, according to the government statistics, less than 2% of all HVAC technicians are women, right? And I, for one, am glad to see women in the trade. I used to teach at a private trade school, and there was something about the female technicians. They were head and shoulders above their male peers because they had something to prove and they really had tried hard and they would really picked it up. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, shout out to Kelsey from up in Boston. She's been one of my students before, and she's been a technician for over 10 years, and now she owns her own business.
Oh, good for
and
her.
when she's in my class, everybody else is just floored. You know, when she talks about HVAC, when she talks about VRF, M&P, and she's just so knowledgeable. It's just so awesome.
I was trying to figure out, there was who else was there? There was Cree,
Yep.
who was a business
Cree.
owner, and Bailey. Bailey was the person. She got hired because she actually went to the offices and by herself to ask for a job, where all these other guys were having their moms call to see if if these officers were hiring.
Wow.
And she's sharp. All of them are sharp because they, especially Kelsey. I've trained her. 10 years ago she was in my class.
Yep.
So it's all about the training. So good for them. So tell us a little bit. Robyn, we'll start with you. Tell us a little bit about a day in the life of Robyn as a DSG.
Back in the day, I was doing applications, and I really do miss that. But now I get to get on the phone with my contractors and help them with technical support all day, every day.
Awesome. Oh, beautiful. Do you do site visits?
I do, absolutely.
Yeah. And Katie, what does the day in the life of Katie look like?
A little bit of everything. So I help engineers make equipment selections. I do startup assistance. I do site visits. I do technical support.
Oh, beautiful. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. So what would you say is your favorite thing about your job right now?
I'll start. So my favorite thing about my job is I get to work with everybody on a job site. So I get to see buildings start from engineer narratives, and I get to start them up when they're all finished and built, and then I see people either working or living in them, and it's just really cool.
It's gratifying, right?
So gratifying, just watching a project go from literally beginning to finish.
All right. Robyn?
I agree. That's awesome. But I would have to say that I am constantly learning. I did not come from a contractor background, which a lot of my contractors, they have a very technical background, and I started with applications. I have an engineering degree. I did not do the hands-on work.
Wow.
So I'm learning
Same.
things
Good for you.
every single day.
Yeah. Well, let's address the elephant in the room. Why did you all look at me just then? Okay, never mind. How to contract? You show up on a job site. So women in this industry, less than 2%. So that's rare. So what are some of the reactions that you get from men when you go on a job site? Do you get, are they open-minded about it? Are they welcoming? Or do you get some of them with attitude? I mean, tell us about some of the, struggles.
I think everybody thinks that I have a lot of struggles being a woman in the industry, and that's just really not the case.
Good.
Most of the contractors, they understand what my job is, what I can do for them, and they appreciate my help.
Wow, that's great. Katie?
I've had a similar experience. The contractors in my market are awesome. I enjoy just joking around with them. They know that I'm there to help them, to support them. They come to me for the answers. They come to learn from me. And it's actually been really welcoming.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. And one last thing before we get into our topic. What advice would you have for a young female technician in the truck right now who might be listening to us?
Keep going at it. You are where you're supposed to be. If you want to be here, you are exactly where you're supposed to be.
Robyn, anything to add?
I echo that, but just keep learning. Don't give up. Don't get discouraged.
Yeah, that's good advice for every technician,
Yes.
whatever gender they are. So thank you for that. So, Steve, what's our topic for the day?
So, Katie, you mentioned you do a lot of P-series systems in like data rooms,
Yes.
right? And you mentioned IDF rooms.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, so let's talk about that because P-series and M-series, M-series is really not a suitable fit for low ambient cooling, right?
Right.
So we got to go with a P-series. And the reason for that is because with an M-series, compressor ramps up, outdoor fan motors ramp up, right? And same thing when it ramps down, they both work together in unison. It's not ideal for low ambient cooling, right? So we go with the P series because now we can ramp that compressor up and we can drop our speed of our outdoor fan motors and get that low ambient cooling. So what are some of the things that you see out in the field with the P series systems?
With the P series, I see the cooling only units, and we always put wind baffle kits on them.
Yeah, that's going to help.
In the Portland area, we typically only need the front wind baffle, so it gets down to 0 degrees. In Central and Southern Oregon, we'll put the advanced wind baffle kit on there, so it can ramp down to minus 40 degrees if necessary.
Minus 40. Wow,
minus 40.
That's really cool. So what set point temperature are they keeping these rooms at normally?
Usually between 68 and 70 degrees.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so just like I worked on a lot of data room systems in the past, and 68 degrees seems to be that
Sweet spot.
That sweet spot. They want that temperature at, and data rooms and server rooms and that type of IDF rooms, static is a big issue, right? That they don't you can't have static, and you get high static when you have low humidity.
Static electricity, not
Static pressure. Yeah, let's clarify that. Not static pressure, but static electricity, and that's bad for electronics, right? So we got to keep that humidity. And so what do you see? Because we can't provide humidity, right? Our systems don't put out humidity. So what do you see in these rooms? Do you have any struggles with static electricity or anything like that?
Yeah, personally, I haven't, just because my reach kind of stops.
Right. Yeah. So you're not dealing with that.
I'm not dealing with the
that side of things.
humidity side of things.
Yeah. And just, I think we forgot to mention, you're both with Trane,
Yes.
right? And Katie, you mentioned Portland. I was going to say, be clear, it's Portland, Oregon, not Maine.
I learned 2 days ago that there's a Portland, Connecticut.
I did not know that. The next time over. And Robyn, what area are you in?
I am in Dallas.
Dallas.
Oh, wow.
Dallas,
I don't think
Fort
there's
Worth.
confusing that. It's Dallas, Texas.
Yeah. Well, in DFW, I think that does it.
Yeah.
All right. So why can't I use an M series in a critical cooling application?
So, really good question. Before we get into the answer, so Robyn and I were on the Trane side. So for us, the equivalent would be the NV series.
Oh, correct. I
that's
forgot
right.
about that.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
Well, thank you for clarifying.
So NV series for M,
Yes.
Okay.
But P series is the same.
it's still the same. Okay.
All right. So let me rephrase the question. Why, as a contractor, why would I not use an NV series unit in a critical cooling application?
So, like what we were talking about earlier, as your fans ramp up, your compressor ramps up, but on the opposite side, as your fans slow down, your compressor also ramps down. So
It's not ideal.
it's not ideal. So you're seeing decreased cooling capacity starting anything lower than 65 degrees.
Okay.
And in Portland, we get a lot cooler than 65 degrees in the winter.
So really, it's comfort cooling, and once you get below 70, you really should be thinking of something else, which would be the P series, and it's the P series whether we're talking Mitsubishi or Trane.
Yes.
Yeah. So what are some other types of systems that, Robyn, that you're dealing with other than M? Are you doing anything commercial side?
Yeah, so I'm on the commercial side of Trane,
Okay.
the CSO. So I work with City Multi primarily. The P series is pretty much the only mini split we're dealing with because we do like that P series professional product. That's why they named it
point,
the P
yeah.
series. So we don't generally deal with the M or NV series units.
All right. And you're in Dallas, so when you do deal with the P series units, are you also putting the wind baffles on there, or pretty much we don't need it?
If it is a critical cooling application, we're expecting really low ambient temperatures during the winter in Amarillo or even in North Texas, then yes, we'll put the front wind baffle. I don't think I have ever sold an advanced wind baffle. We don't need all of them. We don't need negative 40.
Makes sense. Yeah.
I think if it got to negative 40 in Texas, everyone would just leave.
So the problem with Texas is if we're at negative 40, we don't have electricity anyways, so you're not going to be using your air conditioner.
That's true. As case in point is what happened a few years ago.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to speak Mitsubishi model numbers, but are you doing mostly Y series, Robyn, in Dallas? Or is it a mix of Y series and the simultaneous heating and cooling branch controller system?
We usually work with the R2 system, which is the heat recovery system,
Okay.
simultaneous heating and cooling in various applications, from dorm rooms to high-end houses to offices and schools.
Awesome. Now, what about the HVRF? Are you dabbling in that at all yet?
We are trying to be one of the first labs in the country to have a hybrid VRF system in our San Antonio training facility. So we are very much looking forward to that in the upcoming year.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know what the HVRF system is, it's really a breakthrough. We have a typical commercial outdoor unit with refrigerant from the outdoor unit to the HBC, the hybrid branch controller. And from the branch controller to the indoor units is chilled water and hot water. How cool is that,
So
right?
it's basically a chiller, right?
Yeah.
And you will both know more about this than I will, but this is going to help with ASHRAE. And is it standard 15 or 30? I can never remember.
15.
So ASHRAE.
ASHRAE 15.
Which is what?
The refrigerant concentration amount in a space.
Wow.
So we run into that mostly in dorm rooms. So that is what I'm looking forward to applying the HVRF system to the most.
Right. So now the refrigerant will never leave the mechanical room. No, it'll just be water, and it's basically a chiller, as I said.
Yeah.
Right. Cool beans.
That's awesome. So, Katie, what do you see on site visits for maybe bad practices or some installation errors?
So I think that VRF is absolutely fantastic if it is installed correctly.
Absolutely.
It is so install dependent. So when I go out onto job sites, I'm making sure that because I deal with a lot of high-rise multifamily, so if we are using air-cooled heat recovery systems, we have to make sure that they're within the allowed vertical separation, that the condensing units aren't too high up on the roof. If we do run into those issues, then usually very early in the design phase, then we'll talk about using water source heat recovery VRF systems.
Okay.
So with the water source, so you have a cooling tower typically on the roof, and then you can put the water source condensing units in mechanical rooms.
Right,
So
so
they're
that's-
on the
yeah,
same
okay.
floor, so you don't have any of that vertical separation.
Awesome. So a lot of water source in where you're from?
I've started up 4 or 5 water source jobs now. And then I think as far as other installation practices go, making sure that you are pressure testing everything, evacuating, and purging the system with nitrogen just to make sure that the system is completely dry, it's tight. Nothing is in the system except that refrigerant.
Right. That's important. So do contractors call on you to do any extended warranty startups or the extended warranty process?
All the time.
Yeah. So you need a DSB, an accurate DSB.
And as built.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you have to make sure they put the additional charge in there. That's so important, right?
So, and you're the one actually doing the startups then.
Yes.
You just have the information. They give you the information, and you're putting it into the system and submitting.
Exactly.
And Robyn, are you doing likewise? Are you also doing startups?
Yes, I am. We in Texas do not have a large amount of high-rise buildings. If we are lacking in anything, it is not land. So we tend to build out. I will call Katie for future water source startups.
Please do.
But yeah, we are absolutely doing startups, myself and my team.
Good.
We do the DSB with our contractors. We help them collect the data necessary to get the extended warranty. And we also work with our DCCs to make sure that they get their labor warranty also.
And DCC is, for those who don't know, it's a diamond commercial contractor.
This has been awesome. I appreciate it, Robyn and Katie, for being on the podcast. Paul and I have been looking forward to this. We've been chasing you around for 2 days. We couldn't do this yesterday. Everybody was excited. We came in. Everybody was out there. We had the casino night, and everybody was gambling with fake money.
And it just occurred to me, that I don't think we've mentioned your last names. Do you want to keep it that way? You want to be anonymous? Say, let's give them your last names, or if you're okay with that? Okay. Robyn, let's go.
My name is Robyn Bowling.
Okay. And I called you Katie Holmes earlier, but I think that's somebody else.
I have a different famous last name. It's Forbes.
Forbes. Katie
Katie
Forbes.
Forbes.
Both with Trane, Portland, and Dallas.
Awesome.
Thank you
Thanks.
both.
We'll see you on
for
the
your
next
time.
episode.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right. So we need some pho.
Yes,
Yes. We got to find a pho place. Could you be able to tell us if it's good pho, bad pho?
absolutely.
All right, so we don't say that word again. What are some other Vietnamese dishes that you make?
Ooh, banh mi, so the sandwiches on baguettes, and bonseo, which is a coconut milk pancake filled with shrimp and pork, bean sprouts. Amazing.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah, we only ate like 4 times today, but we're still hungry.
No, yeah, they give us food every 2 hours.
I
This is
think
going
it's
to be
rolling a
awful.
little though.
No, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna tell my wife I haven't eaten in 2 hours. What's in the fridge?